Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome to the Fleet Forum Wednesday webinar, where today we are with Nicolas Birrer, the Regional Vehicle Fleet Manager from ICRC, who is gonna talk about fleet waste management metrics. It is always very helpful if one of you could let us know in the chat if the sound is okay. If you can hear us, that's always good. And we give it a couple of seconds for others to pop in. We know we had a lot of sign-ups for this webinar, so I'm just going to give it a couple of more seconds, and then Nicolas will start. I think this is a really interesting topic. I think for many organizations, waste management is high on the agenda. How do we do that? How do we do it in a sustainable way? How do we look into opportunities to reduce our fleet waste management? And we're very happy that Nicolas is with us to share his experiences. Like we always do, Nicolas will present, and then at the end, we will have time for questions and answers. So if you have any question, pop them in the chat or use the Q&A functionality in Teams, and we will pick them up at the end of the webinar. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Nicolas, and I will be back at the end of the webinar. Enjoy.
Yeah, so hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. As Rose said, we just maybe wait one more minute to give a chance to everyone who wants to connect. So just also as a pre-introduction, some of you may have participated in other presentation that ICRC has made, so some slides may be known or famous for you. Today, it's many things I will present are actually projects or are not fully validated. So yeah, just for you to know that some data may seem odd or may raise questions in themselves. So yeah, so just don't focus too much on the numbers. It's more to present what we can see and what we can think about or trying to understand. So without further ado, I think I can start right now. So as Rose said, I'm a regional fleet manager for ICRC based in Amman. Actually, I'm also in charge of technical support, and this is for actually this is global scope. So this is why actually I can get some datas or deeper datas that some of my colleagues couldn't get, trying to gather, centralize all the all information or all worthful information. Here, just for you to see some numbers, again, it was taken some time back, so it's just to give you a rough idea of what we are talking about in terms of numbers for a region, like it's made at ICRC. So actually, I'm covering something like 1,000 assets, which are of all kinds, so can be cars, light cars, generators, buses, trucks, and so on. Just why I'm detailing those categories, it's because this is something you will see further in this presentation. Here, some, yeah, that gives you, of course, an idea of what we're talking about and the impact actually on environment caused by any kind of assets we are running. It's also for you, I think, important to keep that that figure in mind, that 5,000, because for the charts I'm going to present, it should be used as a multiplier of some numbers. So each time you will see a number or something, then keep in mind that you have to multiply that number, and I think that will give a good idea of actually the numbers we are playing with. So also what you can see here, of course, it's mainly cars. It's more than the half of assets, and then some trucks and generators. Here, just a quick, let's say a quick word on the raw data. Any data that we can collect. So raw data is of little value if one cannot turn into information. And it's a lot more valuable and unless it's used in the right way to enable knowledge. Bring out actions, and of course, ultimately bring out actions accordingly. So emphasis is on meaningful and actionable results. To make sure that data is clean and correct, it should be by internally auditing all aspects and double checking with your guidelines. If not, the information you want turn into knowledge will not be an accurate reflection of the data and what is happening in your organization. All right, so just, because it's many numbers and of course how we want to collect it and what we do with it. So now let's focus on today's topic, those fleet waste management metrics for what they can be used. So of course, I think now and for quite a while now, it's the environmental question that is well understood and that we know we have to consider in the first place. So, but I see two sides or two reasons why we should focus on those metrics. So one is, of course, for environmental matters, and the other one, and that's I think a very accurate topics, making the best use of our resources and trying to go for cost savings. So environmental, we can get, I think, a clear picture of waste production by getting those waste production metrics, and also enables projection by vehicle type in use. So then we will, it will make more sense, I think, when we will go along the slides. On the other side, so best use of resources, know and be able to set life cycle objectives. And I think this is a big topic because actually sometimes we're just a bit lost on on the best use we can make of our supplies. Basically, you know, the first question, how long we can use it before it really deteriorates the assets. So we'll have a look actually at that. This is, I think, I said it in introduction, a slide that may be very pretty famous for some of you. You know, of course, when we start with new concepts or when we want to give direction to our work, I think that in one of the first things we should do when it's about waste, it's to identify what is the most harmful. So here we call that critical waste. And of course, something that is critical, you also have to consider the volume you produce. And this is how basically you give priorities to what you should focus on and what you should prioritize. So this is why on the next slide, you will see those 4 categories in red. So when it's about waste management or recycling, batteries, engine oil filters, and tires. So here, actually, there are some numbers you can see or some figures of those categories. So first, what I would like to say and what actually we should ask ourselves is to define the right KPIs and waste categories. So waste category, I just talked about it the slide before. Here you can see for tires, and something that you have also to be aware of, it's that those data collection is a pretty tricky exercise. So of course, when you are managing a fleet, basically you have just a little time to really spend on extracting the data, which data, where is it, and everything. So here, actually, to get those numbers, I needed the help of a data analyst. And of course, data analyst is most of the time, you know, those people, they can be shared between various departments, and they have actually no clue of what they want to display or the meaning of it. So here the point is actually, those raw data, they need post-processing. And actually, you should ask yourself which of those KPI you would use. So here, in example, for tires, one metric is tire per car per year. So, which is, I think, relevant data that must be known and that should be considered. And also, of course, you can see that when it's about tires, it's only about moving assets. So here you can see that kilometer per tire, it's something you have to be careful when you see those numbers, because it has it's worthful, but here you have to multiply that number by the number of wheels you have on a car. So saying that a tire is good for 4,000 kilometer, you have to keep in mind that it's for one tire and you have to multiply by 4. So here the number we would like to see is this number multiplied by the number of wheels. And typically here we see that for a heavy duty 4x4, or it's roughly 16 kilometers of lifespan, and a bit more for light vehicles. So also regarding tires, I think most of you already went into discussions on what we can expect from tires. So of course, first criteria is to replace when it's worn out or damaged. But then there was also that question of age, and typically tire aging is a big topic on itself. Some say you have to replace every 4 years, every 6 years, and so on. And here I think that it leads to a big waste actually of resources. So maybe I won't say exactly what we do at ICRC, and maybe this is the type of policy you cannot apply globally. But just when you see those numbers, maybe when we see that we replace tires, actually you see the row one that we replace more than 4 tires, per car once a year. Maybe we should ask ourselves why. So this is typically why here I think also check and adjust your tire changing policy. Also, why this chart is, I think, interesting, it's because it enables you to make your forecast. So typically here, if you are splitting your vehicle or asset category like we do, immediately you can see that for the following year or year to come, you can have a clear idea actually of tires that you will be consuming a year per type of vehicle. So that's, let's say, another way. I don't know what kind of fleet management system you use, but it might be actually an extra data for you to help in your forecast. Now regarding lead batteries, and here it's only lead batteries, because I think we are not advanced enough, sorry for my English, with the electric vehicles. So here the numbers you can see is about only lead batteries used on internal combustion engine vehicles. And this one, for me, it's one of the most interesting actually data that we were able to collect, because we realized that we are changing more than one battery a year on vehicles. Here too, sorry, I should have said that earlier. When the data analyst is providing you with the numbers, you can see actually two units. One is unit per year, so number of battery per year, and kilometer per battery. Kilometer per battery it's not, I mean, a battery can be used, can be okay for 1 to 100,000 kilometers. So I don't think it's, it's something you should look at when you take your decision of replacing a battery. But more here, we should focus actually on the number of battery we replace a year. And that's why here I wanted to emphasize that relevant data. Also, when we see that we are changing a battery more than once a year, we should ask ourselves, is the quality of item good enough? For, let's say, major battery manufacturer, the guarantee is over a period of 3 to 4 years. So it immediately raises that question, why at ICRC, actually, we are replacing them more often. And here a problem I pointed out is, I think that it's a matter of maintenance, because lead battery, like a car, actually needs some maintenance. It's pretty basic, like charging them from time to time. And also maybe we are not storing them the right way. And I think that column here is exactly what it points out. I think that a lot of improvement actually can be made, and there's probably change in the habits to be led. The two other categories I wanted to show you are oil and oil filters. Here also, it's I think it highlights something. It's the use of the right category of assets, especially with heavy duty 4x4 or city cars or light 4x4 when possible. You can see that actually we are able to make a longer use of per liter of oil. Actually, this is the column here. So you see with the heavy duty or with light, we see that actually we use less liter of oil per kilometer, and that really points out that actually it's a saying from a famous Formula One manager that light is right. So always try to use the actually the smaller, or try to be minimalist. It's not only the tag price when new that we should focus on, but it's everything that comes after, and what actually I used to call, or because I was in private business before, it's after sales. So also something that is sometimes surprising when you collect the data, you see that we change all filters on trailers. So yeah, I think that's interesting to see that actually there must be something wrong. And also the unit. So of course, for anything that is moving, it's the unit is a kilometer, and for forklifts or a generator, it's based on hours. So just to compare apples with apples, just be careful on the units that are actually used. And sometimes, for some reason, you see also here a red number. For some reason, the extraction never worked, and yeah, so that's something that happens. So again, here the point is always think, analyze the data you get, and does it make sense, and what's the credibility actually in those numbers. Something I wanted to quickly present, it's not exactly metrics, but maybe you remember a few slides before, I said I talked about workshop and spare parts replacement. Actually, it's often I see that people are not exactly sure on when to replace spare parts, or of course, we used to work with many brands, So like Toyota, like Renault or anything. And of course, it's just impossible to be an expert in all brands. In many of our organizations, we are generalists. And I think that, when you have to actually to take into account many data like the brand, like mileage or many factors, in the end, what prevails, it's let's try to stay to stay on the safe side, and we tend to replace I think sometimes too much. So that's why we are actually or currently trying to develop that service interval calculator that actually is taking the data from a database and is actually indicating when something needs to be really replaced when it's due. And and I think also it's a human chain. I mean, orders come from a manager, and then there's someone who's making the or doing the task. And also to prevent from instruction misunderstanding, I think that more and more we should work with actually with checklists. And something I like to let's say to laugh about. You can be professional. You can repeat the same task every day. I mean, look at I think that most of you went into a plane, and I can tell you the pilots, it's many years, it's high responsibilities. They know what they're doing, but basically each task they have to cover are with the help of a checklist. So that's why I think that actually to prevent mistakes or maybe wrong opinions on things, I think it's good to have something that comes from a proper checklist and something that's been calculated. And I think that's, I will stop here. So just saying before actually leaving, so you can't manage what you don't measure. So that's basically something that you should say to yourself every day. Base your analysis on facts, take your decisions on facts, and those facts and figures are those metrics, and that was the topic of today. So I will stop here. Time now for maybe some questions. I will try my best to answer them. On the fly, and if I can't, I'll try my best to help you or support you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Nicolas. A very interesting webinar presentation. I like your phrase, "The light is right." That's I'm gonna remember that one. Let's see if we have some questions. I don't see them in the chat right now, but I know that there must be questions around Fleetway's KPIs. Also interesting what you were mentioning about over replacement of spare parts or during maintenance, right? And that of course leads to higher costs, but also by using more spare parts or by replacing them more often than we actually need, we also if you look at the full life cycle of spare parts, we also contribute to more emissions. So those are sort of key, let's say, key concepts to remember. Let me see if we see some questions popping in. I see at least very interesting presentation, and I can only agree to that. Also, the use of checklists and your advice to use checklists. I think we tend also always to think that, well, we know everything by heart, right? And by thinking that, then we tend to forget or maybe get sloppy around the way how we work. So putting in place checklist is also a very important message that we can all take from the webinar.
Just a word on that, actually, also to, I took that example of airplane pilots, but I used to work, I can name it, I used to work for Honda for many years. And actually, I was actually after sales responsible. And I can tell you something, all day long, we were seeing the same Honda vehicles entering the workshop. So basically the mechanics, they know the vehicle from A to Z. But then you still need that checklist because, of course, you can miss a point or you can miss an operation or anything. So even though that you know everything, those mechanics, they had to go through the checklist. And it's also yeah, just you know, for the quantities, for anything that's been used, it's also a matter of transparency and also better knowledge of what's been done and traceability, because of course in the end everything's stored. So that's why these my expectations are pretty high with that checklist, but it's been a while. Huh? We try to develop it. It's not something that is straightforward, although in the end it looks just like any Excel chart with tick box and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We have a question. Maybe Nicolas, if you can explain the calculation for the tires, where you mentioned like, okay, for the 4x4 tires and the fact that you have to multiply it by 4. Can you explain? There's a question like that Mullen says he thinks he missed you on the explanation, and maybe that goes for other people as well.
All right, yeah. Yeah, so here the two columns we see, actually, the first one is just the number of tires we replaced on the car. So here it's just that it's surprising that we are changing more than one set of tires on a car yearly. One reason, there are many reasons actually for that, but one is, look here, there's that policy. It's true because I saw it. Like when you replace set of tires, you also replace the spare tire. So here the question, for example, do we need to replace also a spare tire, which should be used actually just as my English is so bad sometimes, just temporarily, let's say, and then should be replaced with either a new tire or a new pair of tire. So this is just what it indicates. Also, again, replacing, there might be good reasons why we replace tires, you know, punctures, damage, as I said. Here also something I didn't mention, I think it's interesting, maybe it's not completely answering the question, but anyway, here also remember that those numbers are global numbers. So you don't see the details. Maybe in I would say you the KPI or the objective you want to set might be different whether you're I don't know, in like me in Joran when there are roads, and where you're in South Sudan where when you basically leave the city there's nothing, and there's many reasons for damaging the tires or anything. So yeah, I hope it answers. And then the kilometer per tire, this is here. I wanted to say that this number should be multiplied actually by the number of wheels installed on the car. Like here for heavy duty, so it's by time 4. So like 16,000 kilometers per tire per set of tires. Sorry. So basically, you are replacing the tires every 16,000 kilometers. And here we see that light is right. So with a lighter vehicle, the set of tire is good for 20,000 kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Nicolas. We have a question from there's quite a number of questions on your checklist and the one that you use also to maybe forecast the maintenance intervals. And there's two similar questions around issues with vehicle warranties as a consequence of not following the OEM's maintenance schedule. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you. Well, then there are, let's say, different truth. There's one that when you're in the field with the Land Cruisers, I'm not sure that Toyota is covering actually any kind of warranty. Not sure of that. Then this calculator, you know, it's also based actually on, I mean, a parameter is actually based on the manufacturer recommendations, or it's more than recommendations. I mean, on the manufacturer obligations. So, and here again, you can adjust your calculation on what makes on what you want to give importance to. So of course you have to replace, but once again, I'm not sure, you know, when you are in the rough, when you are really in the field. I mean, you know, to cover any kind of warranty, you have to prove that the vehicles was used the proper way, and of course it was maintained the proper way. But anyway, it's adjustable. So here you have to I mean, you have to take your decisions and see what kind of maintenance you want to set for your fleet, actually.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying, is also around the importance of data and getting information on your data and turning it into knowledge so that it can help you also to make these kind of decisions. Yeah.
Here I see someone just wrote that the idea to replace some parts based on condition of the part. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is not the fine, let's say the latest version of the checklist, but then it was the same. I mean, the same goes, you know, for when I was at Honda. You know, for some reason you can see something that worn out quicker than expected, and ultimately the let's say the human has control. So if you take any decision to go above or to go for more than what is that is planned, that's perfectly fine. But then at least the point, I mean, the point here is at least you see the truth. You see something that is based on the calculation, and that you should see.
Yeah. Okay. Half an hour has gone. We're already actually over half an hour, and there still are coming questions in. So Nicolas, maybe at a later stage, later this year, we can invite you for another session, maybe around fleet waste management, because there's a lot of interest if I look at the questions from the audience. I would like to thank you, Nicolas, for being here and sharing your experience with fleet waste management metrics and your insights on well, how to look at your data to make decisions around service intervals, but also how you manage the waste. Thanks for the participants for being actively engaging with us. We look forward to see you in our next webinar, which will be not on a Wednesday, people, on a Tuesday, and I will share the link where you can register for the next webinar. And it's also a longer webinar because together with the REC Coalition, we're going to do a 1.5 hour session on best practices, where we are welcoming presentations from colleagues from ICRC and Save the Children. And that's going to take place on the 3rd of June. Nicolas, again, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to see you all soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your interest.